All right. Quentin,
Okay,
I'll pass it off to you.
very good. So I'm interrupting to introduce an organizational change at Sustainable Wellesley. Scott Bender started Sustainable Wellesley a long time ago. I'm not sure he's on, but 2006, 2007. So out of nowhere, he decided it needed to exist, and now it does. To become a 501c3 that we are, we needed to incorporate. And to incorporate, you need a president and a treasurer and 2 other board members. And I became president, and this was quite a few years ago. I can't claim to have done, I can't claim what Sustainable Wellesley has got done in the intervening time. It has been a huge amount, and it really has been a team of like-minded individuals, and people have joined that team and left that team. I will claim the idea of action meetings, so I'm delighted that we're on an action meeting and there are so many people on, so welcome and thank you. So after that great idea, I didn't have much to follow it up with, and I realized that I should move on. And so about 3 years later, I am moving on as president, staying part of Sustainable Wellesley, staying on the board, and we have in our annual meeting 2 or 3 weeks ago, unanimously elected Phyllis Tierman as our president of Sustainable Wellesley. So round of applause. And we have unanimously elected Trish Glass as our vice president. So many, many congratulations to Trish. You do all know Phyllis. I could spend the whole time talking about how great she is and how much she's done for Sustainable Wellesley. Just a tiny little bit. She writes just about every single word you read from us. The newsletter, just about everything that goes out. Phyllis has done all of that, and that is really central to who we are. She leads these calls. She's done everything from July jubilation through to the action meetings to keeping our weekly calls that the board have on track and getting really active in the town. Trish is newer to Sustainable Wellesley, but has hit the ground running and really done a huge amount in a small amount of time, not least with recent movements in the town and getting the town to make certain decisions. So thank you for that, and congratulations to Phyllis and Trish.
I was trying to keep it low key, but thank you. And thank you for getting us here. And thank you, Scott. And so for folks who don't know, I'm Phyllis Tierman. Welcome. That was Quentin Prideaux. We're part of the leadership team of Sustainable Wellesley. We are like an 8 or 10-year-old nonprofit, and we just keep the conversation going around sustainability, and we're glad you're here. There's definitely faces that I haven't seen in a long time, and some I've never met, so welcome. We have 3 main things on our agenda this evening. So what we're going to do is I'm going to ask that everyone, just so you know, again, we are recorded, and if you're presenting, you can be off mute, but if you are not presenting, it would be great if you can mute yourself. And what we're going to do is, I think after each section, we'll have like a short 5-minute Q&A. So maybe hold your questions till after the presenter has spoken. You can also drop your questions or comments in the chat box. And with that, I think I will turn it over to Sherry. I just have to share the screen. Hold on one second.
Move host over, right, to me?
Yep, I'm going to do that.
All right, thank you.
No problem. I just have to find you on my list here. Here we go. And if anyone comes on in, will you welcome them in? There we go. You're on.
Okay. Let's see if we can get the presentation going. Oh, looks very successful here.
All right.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for finding time for us on your agenda. My name is Sherry Kassir. I recognize some of you on the Zoom, but not all of you. I have lived in Wellesley for 21 years. I live on Squirrel Road. I am co-chair of the Racial Justice Initiative at Temple Beth Elohim, and a founding member of Building a Better Wellesley. As a group, Building a Better Wellesley has been its first year learning a lot about housing policy and its effect on racial justice. We are beginning to appreciate how housing policy can also improve environment. So it is fitting that our first discussion is with Sustainable Wellesley. Next slide, please. We are here to ask for your support for affordable housing and to share with you our very first initiative. I'd like to summarize how Wellesley residents have come together over the past few years to plan for our future with people of different socioeconomic backgrounds in a thoughtful and responsible way. And Mara will demonstrate how affordable housing is so important. She will also describe our first initiative. And lastly, as pointed out, we'd really like your feedback. Next slide. As you probably know, Wellesley periodically entertains a comprehensive planning process and did so fairly recently. You may have been a part of it. It culminated in a unified plan dated 2018. This process included many Wellesley residents and several visioning opportunities. The aspirations outlined are quite inspirational, and if you haven't had an opportunity to read it, take advantage of the report on the town's website. It resulted in many aspirations, among them the two on this slide: more diversity of people, housing, affordability and incomes, and more open spaces and sustainability. Next slide, please. Subsequently, Wellesley drilled down to develop a housing plan. And once again, I'm sure that many on the Zoom participated. I certainly did. I remember, for example, a Lego exercise where participants put Legos on maps indicating where types of housing might be located. And once again, the takeaways were: create a variety of affordable and mixed income housing that helps to make Wellesley a welcoming community for people with diverse socioeconomic backgrounds, encouraging new development, repurposing existing buildings, and promoting development of town-owned land for affordable and mixed-use housing. This welcoming attitude in these two reports was so striking that I suggested to Ann Mara that our motto in Building a Better Wellesley should be, let's share Wellesley. Next slide, please. Our organization, Building a Better Wellesley, was put together simply to support Wellesley's planned aspiration to build this affordable and sustainable housing, to create economic and racial diversity, strengthen our business and retail centers, and contribute to a more sustainable environment. To tell you more about how this might work is Ann Mara Lanza, the leader of Building a Better Wellesley.
Oh, well, thank you, Sherry. So thank you for calling me the leader. I feel like I'm on the leadership team. So I'm Ann Mara Lanza. I know a lot of you, but I've lived in Wellesley just a little bit longer than Sherry, and I live over on Oakland Street. And I came to housing like Sherry through the racial justice lens, through the Temple. But we, with Dean McCollum, who apologizes for not being able to be here tonight, we decided that we would create Building a Better Wellesley. And now we have actually a great group of people that are all focused on these goals that Sherry's outlined. So I want to tell you a little bit about why it is that we feel that affordable housing is so critical to Wellesley, and share our first initiative with you. So to start, I want to give you some sort of basic housing terminology, because some of these words are thrown around a lot. The first is AMI, or the area median income, which is a figure developed by the federal government, the region that you're in. And for the region that Wellesley is in, the area median income is around $100,000 for a family of two. I like to use that $100,000 because it makes the math really easy. Because housing is really defined by how your income compares to a percentage of the AMI. So we have, within attainable housing, which is a term that we like to use at Building a Better Wellesley, there's different levels of housing. So you have public housing, which here in Wellesley is like our family housing over at Barton Road, or our senior housing near the police station. And that's really for people whose income is really below 60% of AMI, and probably many of them are quite a bit below that. Then you have the next tier, which is affordable housing. And this is an important tier because when people talk about 10% of our housing stock being affordable, this is the tier they're talking about. And that 10% is a number that's designated by the state. And until a town has 10% of their housing stock designated as affordable, developers can come in and build these 40Bs. And we've seen a lot of those over the past 5 years because we weren't at that 10%. That's for people whose area median income is 80% of AMI or below. And that's really for families, or you'll just see families, seniors, single working adults can qualify for that. And then the third piece is what I'm going to call workforce housing. It's not really a good term for that, but it's really for people whose income is between 80 and 100% of AMI. And that's where you're going to find maybe, hopefully, your town employees, young families, and downsizing seniors. Other information that's important to think about in Wellesley is our median sales price, which is about $1.5 million. And that 94% of the homeowners in Wellesley live in single family dwellings. So what does affordable really look like in Wellesley? And here's just one example. So to show you how the numbers work out. For a family of four, you would have to have an income of $96,250 and a savings limit of $75,000 to afford this unit. A 3-bedroom unit would be $322,000. So you can see there's a huge gap between $322,000 and our average median price here in town, which is the $1.5 million. Workforce housing falls between those two numbers, probably closer to the $1 million number, which is still very expensive for somebody who's on a town salary, but it would be nice to have housing that is in the maybe $800,000 to $1 million range. That's really hard to find in Wellesley. So that's what's missing here. And we have the public housing, we have some affordable housing. We've actually now officially met our 10%, which means that we have control over housing development here in town. We really have very little of the workforce housing. And so there are a number of reasons that we believe that attainable housing is important for Wellesley. And I'm going to go through sort of 3 of the reasons. There's actually many, but these are the 3.
Before you do that, I'm sorry to interrupt because there's some people trying to get in. Can you let them in and then they can hear your 4 reasons? And that would be fabulous.
Let's see. Oh, I can. Thank you.
And someone who's not on mute, maybe you can mute. Thank you.
Connecting.
Oh, there we go. All right.
Got them all? Okay.
No, thank you. I can't see, but if you did it, we're on. Okay, back to you.
All right. All right. So the three reasons I want to talk about today. So the first, well, here we go. The first, inclusive communities are resilient communities. In Boston, in the greater Boston area, we need to develop a lot of housing. We really need to catch up on 40 years of economic growth. For a community, having diverse housing options brings stability to the community. I'm going to,
Yeah, I think you can mute everyone.
yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Hold on a second.
Not on the couch. I'm gonna.
Oh, I think it's Ellen.
Wow, I said mute all, but did it work?
Yep, it worked.
Okay, it worked. All right. Well, see, you're not muted, so obviously mute all did not work. Okay. So diverse housing options, they create stability in a community because people can move based on their changes in their economic situation and stay within the community. It supports economic health, and it would help Wellesley to maintain our school excellence. The second reason is that shared experience is central to progress. These charts are showing something we all know is that Wellesley just doesn't look like the world around us. These charts were showing how racially we don't look like the world around us, but I think we all know that economically we are in the privileged few here. If we want our children to be the change makers of the future, to solve the big problems that we all know are out there, they need to understand the experiences of other people, of different types of people. So housing, affordable housing, helps to expose them to people who are different than who they are. And the third and really important reason is that affordable housing is an integral part of the climate solution. Infill housing projects are going to protect our green space. Transit-oriented development, building housing near our train line. We have 3 train stations here. Building housing near those train stations will help us reduce emissions. And multifamily housing, with that evil word density, actually uses less energy. And I just want to show you a picture of one development in Cambridge. It's a very new development. It's mixed income apartments. It's passive house construction, 98 units right by the LYT station. So I want just a second about diversity, because that is a word that people get very concerned about here in Wellesley. From a sustainability and a climate perspective, density has benefits, real benefits. And so we really need to think about how we in Wellesley can build denser housing that fits within our community. People are also concerned about density in terms of COVID-19. There's been a lot of talk about that over the summer. It's really not density that's a problem with a pandemic like COVID. It's really overcrowding. And you can look at some of the communities in the Boston area, comparing Chelsea to Cambridge. Chelsea, that has a very high incidence of COVID, has the same density of Cambridge that has a very low incidence. And really what we see is it's the overcrowding. It's too many people in a housing unit that's too small. And what we really want to do if we want to be prepared for the next pandemic is to have more housing so that people can live in appropriate sized dwellings. So taking all of this into account and thinking about how important it is for Wellesley to have units, to have more attainable housing, we looked at Wellesley and said, where are the opportunities? So much of the conversation in Wellesley, the housing projects that come up, they require land, they require money, they require negotiations, a lot of negotiations with developers, and a lot of time. So we were looking for what else is out there, and we came up with this one concept for housing that we think is a great fit for Wellesley, and that's accessory dwelling units. This is something that's been tried and it's actually been successfully implemented in many of our neighboring communities. You know, what do we mean when we say ADU, or accessory dwelling unit? It's a separate dwelling unit that's under common ownership and located on a parcel of land with a one-family dwelling. It's limited in size, it meets all the current zoning requirements, and we believe in Wellesley it needs to be owner-occupied and have a minimum rental period. It can be, we believe typically in Wellesley what you would see with an accessory dwelling unit is it would be a dwelling unit within the house, the already existing home. So a homeowner would carve out a piece of their home and turn it into an apartment. But it could also be above a garage or in a barn. It's infill, it is an example of infill housing, and it's an example of what could be workforce housing. It's just one tool in Wellesley's housing toolkit. And so some of the benefits of ADUs that we see that they provide, it's an increase in housing that utilizes lower resources and less energy consumption. It would provide immediate and distributed housing options across the town with limited investment by the town. All the construction costs are obviously on the owners of the property. It's a limited impact on appearance. If the dwelling unit is within the current house, you really wouldn't even see it from the outside. And it provides opportunities for our seniors to stay in town because they can downsize into the apartment that they create, or they could actually, and let maybe a family in their house, or they could rent out a small apartment for some income. And it would bring new residents into our town, residents that would help us, families, town employees, help us reverse the declining school enrollment, and add diversity to our community. What we love about ADUs, and in addition to all this, it's consistent with the goals of the housing production plan. And what we're most excited about is that we've been already talking to the planning board about this, and it's on their work plan for the current year. So we're hoping to move that forward. Thank you. So I guess if you have questions, whoop, I can get to the question slide there. I can't, there we go. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to unmute everybody if I can do that.
Oh, you can leave them muted.
Oh, well, they can't ask questions if I leave.
Oh, that's true. That's true. That's true.
You can just unmute yourself if you have a question.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, thank you, Eric. You're valuable already.
I aim to please.
So I know that was a lot of information really fast. We were told we had 15 minutes, so we tried to squeeze it
I
in.
have a question. How would you relate? So this group is here because we care about, you know, energy and energy reduction and, you know, everything around sustainability. Is there something you want to make sure that you leave with this group that, I mean, I think some of these buildings will probably use, if you have more people in one building, is it less energy? I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, I mean, that's where density actually can be a good thing. I mean, honestly, every development that pops up, and this is not just Wellesley, it's all of our surrounding communities, density is always a huge concern. And I think it is really important. One of the things we care a lot about with Building Better Wellesley is thoughtful development. And so it isn't just build as much as you can, as big as you can. I think each project has to be considered, but from a sustainability perspective, density is good because you will use less energy per family in a denser building. And if we're building new buildings, you know, our town is very, thanks to you guys really, I think in big part, our town is very conscious about building, and we're implementing all of these new building standards and green building standards. So a new attainable housing building would be built in a more sustainable way than the properties that currently exist in town.
Thank you. Does anybody else have a question or comment?
I had a question, Robert Cooper. Hi,
Hi,
Anna. So what is it in the zoning laws right now in Wellesley that prevents having, you know, an apartment in your house?
So currently, our zoning, most of Wellesley is zoned single family residence. And within for the residential pieces, and within single family residence, you can have a single family. So you cannot legally today carve out a piece of your home and rent it to another family, nor can you create a separate part of your home for your adult disabled child to live in or for your elderly parents. I think we all know that there's probably some that are unofficial around town, but you cannot legally do that. You can, the specific parts of the zoning laws, it's about the number of unrelated people in the home, and it's also about you cannot have a separate food prep area. So you could have an apartment without a kitchen, but you couldn't actually have food prep.
Got it.
Anyone else? If you need to process and you have questions, you can throw them in the chat and we can try to get to them at the end, or you can always send them to info@sustainablewellesley.com and I will get them to Sherry and Mara and that team. So, and if you can make me the host again, I will.
Done.
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for having us here tonight. And we definitely would love any feedback or thoughts you guys have.
Great. Well, we're so glad you did. Thank you. Next on our agenda, let me just pull it up. Scott Bender, who's a member of Sustainable Wellesley, who many of you probably know. He is now also a member of the DPW and the Municipal Light Plant Board. And he's going to give us an update because there's a lot of good stuff happening on those town department fronts. And Scott, I'm going to make you host now because I don't know how to do a co-host. One moment. Scott, you're on.
Okay, great. Thank you. Let me just, I can share my screen. All right. Can you all see the slide?
Yes.
All right, great. So I'll talk just briefly about some of the exciting stuff that's happening at the Municipal Light Plant and the Department of Public Works. The first slide is speaking to the solar rebate program. So this is a program that has a pretty significant rebate. That's $1,200 per kilowatt of solar generation. So this is available to residents for their houses. And there's still a federal rebate. So together those, the municipal rebate plus the federal rebate make a pretty quick payback for a lot of folks for their solar installation. The program's been active for about 15 months, and they have 14 completed installations. 4 more are in progress, 1 in draft. So there's 19 installations totaling about 150 kilowatts, which is pretty significant. Town of Wellesley has about 100, so there's about a 20% increase in the number of installations out there. There is still funding, so if people are interested, you can go to the MLP's website and learn more about it. And the deadline for approval is December 30th, so you have a little bit of time left, and there's still a little bit of funding left. So if you're interested, get to it. For those who are curious, Google solar roof projects shows that there are quite a few roofs in Wellesley. I won't dwell on the slide; it's too much data. But there are quite a few roofs available, so that could be productive solar installations. Another exciting thing in Wellesley is the electric vehicles. So this graph just shows the increase year over year. And the municipal light plant has a program to go with the increase in electric vehicles. So they have a $8 per month deduction on your bill or credit on your bill to encourage you to charge off peak. And that adds up. So that's about 3,000 miles a year. So it's a very nice incentive. They have a couple more activities. There are remote home energy audits. So anybody who has not had an audit, this is always a very good place to start, learning about where your opportunities are at home. They're now started remote home energy audits in April and have done 9 since April. So we'd like to encourage people to take advantage of this program and get your home energy audit. There's a large solar opportunity for the 900 Worcester Street hockey rink and activity center there. And the MLP is exploring getting solar on that rooftop. So they'll get some RFPs back this Friday. And then they're also exploring battery storage and additional solar on the MLP and DPW buildings. The Voluntary Renewable Electricity Program has been fairly successful and has about 1,000 residents. We're ranked number 4 nationally. For anybody who hasn't yet seen the statistic, it's something that is still pretty solid. And we had a town meeting approval to support the MLP to grow this program. So it's still available for people to sign up and voluntarily get 100% of their power from from wind power. The Department of Public Works has a project in process right now. You see the wheelbarrow there. They're a little project by the clock tower to build a parklet, and they expect that this will be ready as soon as this weekend. They had some funding that was made available for this program. And yeah, excited to have in a centrally located space, a nice place to sit, park your bike, and enjoy some outdoor time. I can't mention the Department of Public Works without mentioning the RDF. So the hazardous waste, hazardous product drop-off is on Sunday, September 13th. So if you're interested in that, you can learn more on the website. And then there's, I don't know if Trish wants to speak more to this, but there's a Department of Public Works is working, co-sponsoring with the town of Lexington, a quiet, healthy yards. So this is, they have two parts to this. I've just posted the residential part. There's also a commercial landscaping piece, but the residential one is on October 1st. And you'll see more of that to come. So that's the update. I don't know if anybody has any questions about the DPW.
Scott, you may have to unmute folks because I know that Trish said she couldn't speak earlier, but you did have a couple questions in the chat. Someone asked, oh, I hear Ellen, I think. Jeff asked, with all the benefits, why so few solar installs? I don't know if Scott or Don or Ellen or someone wants to answer that or take that offline. I'm just reading the chat questions.
Why few? Well, if somebody's interested, they can apply. There are more available. So it's just a matter of who steps forward and participates.
Okay. Maybe
I'll comment on that. I'm really disappointed. And I think that both at the MLP and the DPW, it's a goal for us to step up our effectiveness and community engagement so that we can be more effective. I mean, this to me sounds like a deal you can't refuse, and yet we're not all sold out. And that is also a centerpiece of the SEC's climate action and resiliency plan, is to step up our effectiveness of our community engagement.
So for folks who don't know, that's Ellen Corpy. She's on the Municipal Light Plant Board as well as the Sustainable Energy Committee. And maybe it's just a matter of getting the word out. So maybe we can put it in our newsletter, and maybe it needs to go back into the Townsman or on some social media as well.
Yeah, it's a really great program. I had solar installed on my roof, and it was finished a couple months ago, and it's pretty exciting. So I would encourage anybody to, if you're on the fence, ask questions and sign up for it.
Another question that came in, Scott or Don or Ellen, is about the Wellesley Country Club, and they are now, as you probably know, considering a new tennis facility in the process. And is there any potential for solar on that building? Does anyone have any ideas, thoughts, comments?
So I guess I'll answer that.
Thank you.
I think that we learned a lesson there, just like many of us learned a lesson with Tolles Parson, that we didn't get involved soon enough, and we learned from that, and that's why we've been so successful, for instance, with the Honeywell School. I think that this demonstrated to us that we didn't really get our input opportunity until the whole permitting process was way down the road. And we've really taken that to heart, because we've learned that if we want to really be effective, we need to get in at the very beginning of projects. So as I understand it, it will be solar ready, but I have not heard anything that encourages me to think that they're going forward with solar panels at this time.
Yeah, I have not heard either, but anyone on this call is welcome to whisper in the ear of their favorite country club member. Does anybody have any other questions for Scott? He had a lot. Maybe, Scott, you can send me that slide deck and I can get it up on the Sustainable Wellesley site, and so people can, look at things further. I know Martha put in the link for the home energy audit, because I know someone had asked about that. And also she put in the link for the solar program. Anything else, Scott?
No, I'll send it forward.
Okay, and you'll make me the host again if you don't mind.
I will do my best.
So
Where would that be?
Participants on the right. You see all our names?
If you can't see participants on the right, you click on participants at the bottom and then everyone appears.
Well.
Don't you Zoom all day?
Do a fair amount of Zoom. You'd think I'd know this.
I know.
So
we have
I have you all in the grid thing, so it's a little bit different. Oh, maybe more.
Yeah, if you see my name and then you hit more, and then you can make me the host.
Yep. Gotcha.
Okay. Thank you. Actually, I think you're still the host. Okay.
I know. I had to click a couple extra boxes.
Okay. Okay, so thank you, Scott. And our third part of the evening, we're going to talk about renewable energy credits. And I'm going to pass, or they're not even called credits. See, I don't even have it right. I'm going to pass it over to Quentin. Hold on. I'm going to make you the boss here. Oops, wrong one. Sorry.
Just while you're doing that and handing it over, I am going to be asking people if they have any questions. We're going to show a very short video under 4 minutes, which I think is excellent, on the subject of renewable energy certificates, and I've always called them renewable energy credits also. And the point is really just, we wanted to make sure that people understood what a renewable energy certificate or renewable energy credit, or REC for short, actually is. Now, it's possible to be confusing or to get confused about how they're used, and there's a huge amount of detail that's involved in the whole REC area, but there's not a lot of point getting into any of that if there's still any confusion about what a REC is. So I did come across this video that the EPA did, and I really thought it was excellent. So I'm going to show that video, and then we'll just have a quick Q&A and see who is interested in being involved anymore going forward. Eric Pinsker-Smith, I know, is on, and he and Matt Russell and Scott and I have formed a core team to look at this on behalf of the rest of Sustainable Wellesley. So if you're interested in joining that team as well, then let us know afterwards. And what I will do is share the video, and then, like I said, see what questions anybody has. And then Phyllis, if you could just, I know we tested this earlier, but just reconfirm that you can see and hold on and hear this. Thank you.
Yep, all set, Quentin.
Great.
You probably know about the benefits of green power or renewable electricity produced by sources such as wind or the sun. Renewable electricity produces no fossil fuel-based greenhouse gas emissions or other air pollutants. That makes it cleaner than electricity that comes from burning coal or natural gas. But if you don't have your own wind turbine or solar panels, how can you use renewable electricity? With renewable energy certificates, also known as RECs, you can purchase renewable power and help the renewable energy market to grow. To understand how RECs work, it helps to understand how electricity is generated and delivered. From fossil fuel-based power plants to wind farms, every power generator produces electricity. This electricity travels to you through a network of transmission and distribution wires, which we call the electric power grid. Electricity from many different sources mixes together in the grid. There's no way to distinguish the exact source that your electricity came from. So how can a consumer like you know that the power you're using is from renewable resources? That's where renewable energy certificates come in. Each REC represents a specific amount of electricity produced and delivered to a renewable resource, or solar. Let's take a wind turbine, for example. For every megawatt hour of electricity it produces, the turbine's owner generates a REC that they can either keep or sell. If you buy the REC, you are now the owner of that green power. RECs allow you to claim that the electricity you use came from a renewable resource with low or zero emissions. In fact, anytime someone claims to use renewable electricity, RECs are involved. Even if you produce your own renewable power on site, you're generating your own RECs. RECs are part of every renewable energy purchase, and they're a credible way to buy and sell renewable electricity because RECs can be uniquely numbered and tracked. Just like an online bank account that keeps track of your electronic banking transactions, anytime a REC is sold, there are systems that track and record it. Once you buy a REC and say that you're using green power, the REC can no longer be sold or used by someone else. The REC can be retired in the tracking system to prevent someone else from claiming it. EPA recommends buying RECs that are certified and verified. This ensures that your green power was generated by a quality renewable resource and what you bought was actually produced. Why are RECs so important? Because they are the currency of the renewable energy market. They allow people and organizations to choose cleaner sources of energy and reduce their carbon footprints. RECs give you the flexibility to support renewable energy even if you can't generate it yourself, or if your local utility doesn't offer a green power product. If RECs did not exist, it would be difficult to say for sure that you're using renewable electricity. In today's electricity market, RECs really do make a difference. By buying RECs, you're providing revenue to support renewable energy projects. When enough people buy RECs, these purchases promote growth in the green power marketplace and help to avoid greenhouse gas emissions across the country. For more information about RECs and how they work, visit the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency's Green Power Partnership at www.epa.gov/greenpower.
So there we go. I thought that was just a really great overview of what a renewable energy certificate is. A couple of things that stood out for me. Anytime renewable energy is used, RECs are involved. It is part of every renewable energy purchase, the importance of having certified and verified RECs, and it certifies that, quote, you are the owner of that green power. So there we go. Is that, I don't know how new that is for everyone or what questions anyone might have, but we are going to be coming back to the subject because there's, on top of what they actually are, there's all sorts of other stuff gets layered. So we will be coming back, and we'd be really interested in knowing what sort of things you have questions of and you'd like to know more about. I did mute everyone, so unmute yourself if you have a question.
I'm actually surprised that it's still part of the EPA.
That video was uploaded 4 years ago, so it's not, but they do still support them. And that website, the link to green power on EPA's website still exists. And it was updated in July of 2020.
Why would an individual want a REC? I could see why a business might want it so that they could talk about how they used renewable energy, but you know, as a single home, why would you want to have a REC?
Well, you know, I think even not gonna answer that and just say that what a REC does is certify the fact that you own that emissions-free electricity. Now, if that's something you want to do, then that's a way to do it. That's the way to do it. So why you'd want to is related to, you know, how you feel about climate and all the rest of it. But what it's doing for you if you buy and retire a REC is saying that you have bought that renewable energy rather than emissions creating electricity. So was that fair? I didn't want to avoid the question, but why you'd want to is just to do with whether you want renewable energy or not.
I had a follow-up question to that. So when we buy green power from the MLP, there was a REC involved in that somewhere?
Yes, yes. If you're buying green power, it is through the power of RECs. They have existed since the very beginning of renewable energy. They are global. They are part of the IPCC. They're part of every greenhouse gas accounting system to do with electricity. And I'll make that point. It's renewable energy credits. They only relate to electricity. You can't buy more than the amount of electricity you use, and you can't buy them for anything else. They don't have anything to do with, you know, whether you want to reduce your emissions from the last flight you took. It's just about renewable energy. It's just about this electricity that I'm using. How can I make sure that it's renewable? Well, there's one way. It's through a REC.
But if you buy electricity through the municipal light plant, who buys the RECs? The municipal light plant from the money that you pay for the electricity?
In short, yes. Yeah,
So
they're doing it for you, because I think it mentioned, you know, RECs are sold in fairly big chunks, so that makes it they kind of handle that intermediate stage. And most places in the country and most places in the world, you can do that. But a great question. Thank you.
I have a question about the school system. Is the school system able to do something like that, purchase RECs, or are they already part of the town-wide system?
I don't know.
I can answer that one if you want.
If it's short, I do want to keep it focused on what a REC is, but go.
In short, yes. The town's buying electricity through the municipal light plant. And so just as we can select to say 50 or 100% renewable energy, if the schools chose to do so, then that would force MLP to procure that electricity renewably through RECs.
Thank you, Eric. So as we're looking at this going forwards, what are there questions that people have that do go beyond, you know, what a REC is, and you know, what else can we be talking about that you would find interesting? Either let me know right now, or put it in the chat, or communicate with us afterwards. But I will thank you for your attention, and hope that was interesting.
I actually have a couple questions on RECs specifically. I hope people don't mind if I drop down an article into our chat, just for anybody to look at whenever they want, if they choose to. But basically, I'm not an expert on renewable energy by any means. I'm a college student who goes to Wellesley, by the way, and I'm part of ENACT. But basically, there are a lot of articles that have been written about why the problem with RECs is that they don't actually drive change, and they don't actually represent carbon reduction in the atmosphere. So I just think that there's like a lot of really interesting work there based on the economy and whether like recs actually drive change, or if they just like provide an easy solution like in our minds to feel better about climate change. So just like if it's enough, I guess. And I think I would like strongly recommend everybody to also think beyond recs, because like lots of people have argued that they actually distract us from real solutions to problems.
Melissa, I think that's really unfortunate. I couldn't disagree with you more. I have studied this. I have read that article. I think it's misleading. And I think, you know, the lots of people have said isn't really the point when we have a robust system like REX. So we can talk more about it. You know, what we do want to establish, first of all, is what a REC actually is. And, you know, as was pointed out, it is part of every single purchase of renewable energy. So if you do want to buy renewable energy, or you do want to say that you're using renewable energy, you don't have a choice other than doing it through REX. It is simply the certification mechanism. So it looks like we're going to have to come back to that one. You know, we'll talk about the points in that article if you want us to. Anyone else?
Quentin, can you make me the host again when you're done?
Sure.
Not really sharing anything, but thank you all. And Melissa, welcome other Wellesley College students. I think there are many ways to fight climate, and this is just one, but I'd love to continue this conversation. With like 5 minutes left, I didn't know if folks had anything else. So just so if you've never been on a Sustainable Wellesley call before, there are 4 or 5 of us, maybe 6 on the leadership team. We have calls every week just to sort of see what's going on, and we have different topics that we cover. But Sustainable Wellesley is a 501c3. We are a nonprofit, and we are just volunteers. And so we're just like you. And so if there's some topic, whether it's RECs, whether it's gas leaks, whether it's monarchs to help, milkweed to help the monarchs, solar, any of these topics that get you jazzed up, if there's something that, you know, whether it's schools, we encourage you to reach out to us, and, you know, we'll bring you together with other like-minded people. For example, we have Eric and Matthew, who are college graduates, also Wellesley High School graduates, and these things matter to them, and they want to get together and try to make a change. So if you have things that are of interest to you that you want to let us know about, you can either open it up. We have like a minute or two, and at least we'll start the conversation, or you can just email us, and, you know, part of the next action meeting could be your topic that you really feel strongly about. So is there anyone out there who has a question or wants to just share anything quickly? Peter
was waving his hand.
Yeah, I was gonna say Peter, perhaps.
Hi everyone. I'm Peter Watson. I'm new to this group, but I've lived in Wellesley for 14 years and was a teacher at Dana Hall until I retired. My particular interest is the fact that in a few weeks' time, there's going to be a town meeting. And one of the warrants on the town meeting states that it will vote to adopt a resolution to address the serious impact of climate change and recommend that all boards, committees, departments take certain actions in response to the accelerating crisis that threatens our community, region, state, nation, and the world. My goal is to do everything that I can to make sure that that resolution passes the town meeting. Now, I'm not a town meeting member, and I'm assuming that a lot of you are involved with people who are town meeting members. I do want to give big thanks to Lisa Olney for making sure that that got on the warrant for the upcoming town meeting. So thank you, Lisa. And I just want to encourage everyone to do everything you can to get people voting for that. To that end, there's going to be another Zoom meeting tomorrow night, and I'm going to put the link for that meeting in the chat. So thank you.
Thank you, Peter. So yeah, if folks want to help work, get the word out, whether that's writing letters to the townsmen, or if you want to help Peter, like just reach out to different town meeting members. I think that's another great way for folks to be involved. Anybody else have anything they want to share? We have a minute or
Can I
two
just
left.
ask a quick question back on
Sure.
the RECs? Thank you, Quentin, for that presentation. But I'm left a little bit puzzled by the relevance to me as a consumer. If I've asked the MLP to go up to 100% renewable, what else can I do? I think I'm doing all I can, but your presentation makes me doubt my own certainty there.
I think there are a lot of things that you can do, and you should be doing all of them. And that's definitely part of something I do agree with Melissa, is that there is more to reducing one's emissions and more to living a sustainable life than.
Oh, no, I don't mean that. I mean in terms of power purchasing.
Right.
Simply in terms of purchasing electricity.
Sure. If you are purchasing electricity and you have purchased the renewable energy certificates, then you have purchased renewable energy. You have purchased electricity that came just once from a source such as wind or solar. It didn't go anywhere else. It is because the MLP does the certified and verified thing, which is very important. Then you are the owner of that renewable energy, and the electricity in your house is certified as coming from that source.
Okay, all right. So I've done all I can do on that score, I guess. Okay, thanks.
You can, I will, yes, I will qualify in that there are other impacts you can have on the entire energy system by how much electricity you use and the time of day that you use it. Even.
Oh yeah, sure.
But as far as whether your energy is renewable, if you bought the RECs that go with it, it is.
Jeff, you can tell your friends and family too, neighbors.
I do, I try.
Thank you.
Nice I drive around in my Tesla.
Perfect.
Very good.
Well, thank you, everyone. It's 8:31. I don't want to keep anyone too late. Again, this is our community, and we're so glad you're here. Send us emails. You can reach out, and we will get in touch and move things forward that matter to you. And have a lovely evening. Don't forget to vote. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night. Evelyn, are you still on by chance?
Oh, Phyllis, I was just wondering really quickly, if you would like to, like when maybe you and I and Maddie could talk about stuff that Wellesley College could be doing.
Definitely.
In relation to sustainability, Wellesley. Like, I'm so sorry. I wasn't sure if you wanted me to stay off the call. I like got off the call, then I got.
No, not at all. Oh, I don't know what happened. I'm so glad. No. Yeah. Do you have my email address?
Yes.
Okay, then email me. Give me a couple times, dates and times that work for you, and we'll, I can either sit outside far away from you on campus, or we can just do a phone call, whatever works best for you.
Sounds perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Evelyn, are you on by chance? Hi, Peter.
Hi, I'm still here.
I know. Do you know how to save the chats? That's what I was trying to figure out.
That was what I was trying to do.
Close chat.
File, and I was trying to save it.
Oh, if you can save it, then will you send it to me?
I don't know if I've been successful.
Where are you doing that?
File, and then I guess where to save it comes up. and I get my iCloud Drive. But then if I click on my iCloud Drive, nothing happens.
Hmm.
Wait a minute, what's down here?
Let's see. More. Oh, now I can see how I can unmute people. This is good practice for me, Peter. This is good.
Yeah, me too.
Are you all set for tomorrow?
I'm all set for tomorrow. What I would like is, I was really encouraged to see a couple of students from Wellesley College here.
Yes.
And I would love to be able to have contact with them. So I don't know whether I'll be able to get in touch with them through this recording. I don't know.
I can connect you to them. I think I just saved it. I just don't know where it went.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you did save it?
I think so. It said it saved, but I hope we're entertaining whoever's still on this call. At 9:22, that's not it.
Perhaps only you can save it.
I know. I think I did. I just don't know where it went. I don't think so because that's not it.
Is Irene still on? I still see her.
I don't know. Or no, that must be a picture. Or she's really going to be in Frozen.
Frozen.
Okay. Recent downloads. Shouldn't be this hard.
No. And I've done this before. And all I did before was, with other
Yeah, someone did it for me, so I feel like you probably could have done it.
File, and then you get the choice of Dropbox, Microsoft One.
Yeah, I did that. File.
Yeah,
I put it on my computer.
Google
Let's try
Drive.
Google Drive.
Ooh, looks like it's saved to Google Drive.
Did it work for you?
Something's come up. Connect to Google Drive. I have to sign in. Okay, I've got that. I'm not a robot. Sign in. Oh God, now I have to pick out all the parking meters. This is nuts. Verify that. Sign in.
Yeah, I don't know where it went. It's so frustrating.
Requesting access to my Zoom account. Authorize. Okay.
Oh, I see. Here you go. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Got it.
Will not be able to record. Okay, it says it won't be able to record the contents until it's quit. So I'm going to try that. So if I don't see you tonight, I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay.
And I will get you in touch with some of those Wellesley College folks.
Thank you. That'd be great.
Have a lovely evening. Thank you, Peter.
Take care. Bye.
Ciao.